In case of anything, I'm able to share with those that will need to listen to our conversation today. I hope that is okay with all of us. Yeah, let me have your thumbs up if that is okay with you. Let me have your thumbs up if that is okay with you.
You are saying our hands up?
Thumbs up if it's okay for me to record what we are discussing today. Yeah,
it's okay, Dr. With me.
Yes,
it's
thanks.
okay.
Yeah, I have seen quite a number of you have said it's okay. Yeah, that is very good. Yeah, I'm actually doing this for the love of my country. The fact that I'm in Canada studying does not mean I stop being a Kenyan. Even if I will later on want to be a citizen in Canada, I'll still be Kenyan. And the main aim of wanting to do what I am doing is because, just like the Bible says, people perish because of lack of knowledge, lack of information. Many of us could have had these opportunities early in time if there was somebody who was ready to freely share with us what it takes to be out of the country, out of Kenya, what it takes to study abroad. Yeah, because when I came to look at the portfolios of most of the people who are great leaders in our country, I realized that most of them, at one time in life, they had gone outside the country to study or to do something outside the country. So that gave me the inspiration to really want to get out of Kenya and have something extra beyond Kenya in my resume. So when I'm talking to people about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, it adds value when I'm talking about having studied in a country like Canada, which is respected when it comes to matters education. And I believe with the competencies I picked from my country, that is Kenya, if I add to what I'm now getting or what I'll be getting in Canada, I'll be able to assist my own country to be a better country when it comes to matters education. As I had actually told you, those who attended the meeting last Sunday, I came over with my children. Why? The main reason as to why I came with my children is because I wanted my children to have an honest and quality education, because I believed I was giving my best to my country. So if my children got the best, then together maybe later we can be able to work together with people who are willing to transform Kenya. Because in Canada, the competency-based learning that we are talking about in Kenya, it is very practical in Canada. Children don't train. Yeah, children don't train. Sunset in Canada is at 8 p.m. So sunrise is 8 a.m., sunset is 8 p.m. So our children wake up at 8. The buses are ready to pick them to go to school as from a very short distance. So they leave our houses at 5 minutes to the time when the buses arrive at the bus stations. And so they don't have to struggle. And they actually wake up at 7 to prepare themselves, yeah? So the children, children are so relaxed. And this is a country that really respects children. Education for children is free. Like now I came on a study permit. My children were given study permits. So when they get to the country, you tell the government where you are living or where you'll be living, and then your children will be placed to schools just next to your home. So school buses will come at a scheduled time to pick your child, take them to school and bring them back home. Believe me, even on the first day, there is no time I went to that school to find out how it looks like, how, you know. I was just given a schedule. Your children will be picked on this day at this time. And that was it. When children came back home, they were now telling me the stories, how their schools are nice. And, you know, it is such an amazing thing. So as a parent of the school now, maybe later I can request to visit the school so that I can get to see the administrators, to know how they do things, because I'm an educator. But I love everything about Canada. As I told you earlier, Canada is a country that works on trust. It's so amazing that when you go to the shopping malls, that is one thing that still surprises me up to today. So I keep on going to different malls to confirm that it is true, that you just get to the mall, pick what you want, you go to the machine, the cashier machine, you just scan your items, and then you're given your total, you put your card there, you pay, you pack your things in your bag and you go. I mean, there is nobody checking whether you scanned everything or you didn't scan. Eh? As in, people just trust that people are doing the right thing. And that is what we need to embrace in our country when it comes to values, value-based education. As in, the citizens in Canada have got values. They've really, I mean, as in, you just trust them. They're just trusted. When they see anybody, they trust that person, that person will just do the right thing. So it is a challenge that I am getting, and I'm actually wondering what I will do later on in life to come back and see that this is effected in our country. Though we usually say where there is a will, there is a way. And when you know there is something you can do to make a difference, don't sit on that thing. Go ahead and do something about it. Don't just keep quiet. So had I just sat back and said I'm comfortable as a national facilitator in Kenya, or then I couldn't have experienced what I'm experiencing in Canada. And I believe in a very short while, I'll get connected to the educators in the country, and I will get a position that will be able to help me learn more in the process of studying. And yes, for sure, I will always bring it back home. So you will be informed, you will be informed on how to do it right, because I have quite a number of friends now who are ready to join me to support you to get the right information, not just for Canada, even to go to Australia, to go to America and other countries. But the best countries to study in are Canada and Australia, because systems are actually working. If you come to study, you have to study. I mean, there is no shortcut about it. Like I came to study, I have to go to class and study. However, I'm given a study work permit that I can work when I'm free, and I can also study as scheduled, yeah? So it is a country where you are expected to be self-disciplined. Now somebody is asking, somebody is asking if the process is, how long does the process of application takes? It is about you having the right things in the process of applying. You need to know what you need to have when you start the application process. Like, because I had a sister back in Canada who had prepared me psychologically what I need to look for. So I looked for all those things before I started the process of doing what? Of applying for the program. That is after getting the admission letter. So of course, the first thing you need to do is to ensure that you have a passport, a valid passport. That will take you some time, yes, of course. Don't if your passport is almost whatevering, what is it called? You need to renew so that you have a passport that will give you some years that you can maybe extend your stay in Canada or in the country that you want to go to. I'm doing this as I wait for Dennis. Dennis, please, if you get to the room, let me know. Diana and Dennis, please let me know so that we don't waste a lot of time. Dennis, are you in the room? Yes, I think I have seen you. Unmute. Unmute yourself. The rest of us, please mute. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dennis. It is so interesting, my people, to be in another place other than Kenya. I came to realize that the state where I'm living, that is Ontario, is larger, is bigger than Kenya. But the systems are working. Transportation, everything. I mean, everything is just so amazing. The people are good. Somebody was telling us that, oh, there is racism and what have you. No, I've not experienced any. When I go to church, I'm just treated like a human being. I am loved like any other. When I go to the malls, our Wazungu, they are ready to support you anytime. Yeah, I think they're just there to, if they see you like you're looking stranded, they will just come and ask you, is there anything we can do to help you? I wish we could do that in Kenya. I mean, it is just an amazing country to really want to come. However, as I told you, my course is self-sponsored. My course is self-sponsored and it's very expensive. That is why I went an extra mile now to start thinking like, now that I have friends, how can I ask them to help me? And that is why I very first thought of, oh, what if I came up with a group? Then I get people to support me, raise my fees. So I want to welcome Dennis and Diana to say hi to us. These are serious guests. They are in the field of what I'm talking about. I mean, take your time, listen to them, take notes, ask questions, and when they will not be available, I'll continue giving you my stories because my stories are many. Oh, so Dennis, where are you? Please say hi to the team.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Dennis.
Yes, Dennis, we can hear you.
So, Mami, thank you so much for organizing this meeting. I'm really happy to be part of this. I will just allow me to call you Mom because
yes,
you're our mother, and it will be a great mistake to call you with your name. And but I really appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. When I heard about this meeting, I said, it doesn't really matter what it takes. I'll just try as my level best to be here. So it is 1 a.m. here in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
But I said I'll just sleep a bit, then wake up for the meeting. And so here I am, and I'm really grateful.
Oh.
So thank you so much for you organizing this meeting, and thank you so much for everyone who has joined. My name is Dennis Otieno Abwonji. And before I even continue, I'd want to, have my wife to introduce herself too, because, yeah. So maybe where you can just introduce yourself first before you continue.
Hi everyone.
Hi, Diana.
Thank you so much for this meeting, Madam Christine, being a dear teacher to me back in high school, and now we are here that we have to help each other achieve our goals and dreams even as we move forward. I and Dennis is my husband. He's in Australia, I'm in Kenya. We are co-directors in a company that we assist students study in Australia, majorly self-sponsored to say. It's called Mashariki Exposure. And when Madam shared with us, we thought it's wise if we just share some of the nuggets that we have with you people, so that even it's not you who is going to join the study group in Australia, maybe it will be your children, it will be your sister, someone who you know who will want to study in Australia. And that's why we said it's noble if we are here just to assist each other. And I'm so grateful that we are here. I'll hand over to my husband so that he can give us a few nuggets. And where we have questions, we are always here to serve you, to listen to you, and to answer your questions as God enables. And this far, we just want to thank God. Thank you, Madam Christine, for taking a step higher and going ahead so that we can have some of these tips that you're giving us, which also inspires us to get better. Thank you so much. And back to you, Dennis, kindly.
Okay, so thank you so much. So first of all, I am currently based in, as I said, I'm based in Australia, in Brisbane, which is in Queensland, that is the state. And honestly, what I've heard from Mom initially is exactly the same thing that is happening here. Like, it is a beautiful place to be in. It's an amazing place. The systems are working and all those things. But I would want to, first of all, just go through a bit of how to get here, because for you to experience all these things, there's definitely a process. And one thing I can assure you guys is that, there's no shortcut. That's the first thing I would want just to make very clear. There's no shortcut in doing these things, because we're dealing with countries where really systems work, and they're very serious when it comes to issues of integrity, issues of, just doing things right. So I'm privileged enough because I've been in the industry for in the international education. I've been an international education consultant for the past 9 years now. So I started working in this job as in 2015, sorry. And this is basically the only thing I've been doing all my life, assisting students to achieve their dreams of coming to study abroad. So I started as in employment. I worked with various companies. By the grace of God, I was able to, be promoted, and I've served in several capacities in the same industry, like regional manager and all that. Then eventually God helped me to get into, like working now as a consultant with the university. So I'm privileged enough to have been able to work on an agency level, and also at an institutional level, whereby I was helping universities promote their products in Kenya and just maybe set up their presence in Kenya. So eventually I also worked with other institutions as a business development manager, and so many other things I've done by the grace of God. So when it comes to issues about promoting international education, helping students to make that decision, how to select courses, what do the universities look at, what kind of paperwork they need, what exactly they want from a student, I totally understand. And I'm also really grateful to God for the opportunity that now, even after doing all that in Kenya, I was able now to come to the same country, and now experience exactly what I was telling people, and that is a big privilege for me, and I really am very grateful. So when it comes to the whole process, the first thing, as Mom has rightfully said, you have to definitely get a passport, and there are a few other things, other documents that you need. And of course, I know all of us can actually be able to provide those documentation, like for instance, your KCSE certificate, your undergraduate certificate, meaning any diploma courses that you've done, or any bachelor's programs that you've done, any employment that you've done, a CV, a detailed CV. Those are now the basic documentations that we are going to be needing if we are going to start this process. However, just having the documents is not, it's not the only thing that we're going to be looking at. So from an institutional point of view, because especially I'll talk from the perspective of Australia, and of course this is exactly also what will happen in Canada, because Australia and Canada are just siblings. They share quite a lot of things, but their systems are a bit different, because I've been able also to assist students to transition to Canada. So I understand exactly what happens in Canada and also in Australia. So the school is going to be looking at what did you study before? So let me give you an example. I personally studied Bachelor of, so I started with a diploma. I did a diploma in purchasing and supplies management, went to campus, did a Bachelor I did a Bachelor in business management, aviation option, then worked in the industry, in the international education industry. Eventually, when I was making the decision to come to Australia, there's no way I could have been able to do a master's of nursing. And this is simply because that nursing is not related to what I'm doing, or what I did previously. So when it comes to doing the application, the school will be looking at what, and even the embassy, these are things they're going to be looking at. What course did you do? And how is it related to what you're going to be doing in these countries? So that is a very important thing to start from. And then, is the course right? Then if you're ticking that, then that is perfect. So you cannot say you did a bachelor's of IT or did a diploma of IT, and then maybe went and worked in a different industry. And, those inconsistencies sometimes will cause you problems. And unfortunately, because the way our Kenyan system is, you'll find that maybe you study even education, you find yourself in the bank, which is not a problem. However, when we do the consultancy, that's when now, as we come in as a Mashariki Exposure, we're going to help you now. Okay, look at your papers and guide you and tell you this course is the one, it's going to be right for you, because at least at the end of the day, you're going to meet the genuine temporary entrant criteria for a particular university. And at the end of the day, we're also going to be looking at the genuine temporary entrant criteria for the visa processing. So we are going to guide you on that. So consistency in the course is very important, just to ensure that your process is successful. So that's something that we're going to be looking at. And this is something I want you also, as you maybe thinking about making the transition, you can also be looking at. So that's number one. Number two, you can only go to do something that is higher than whatever you already have in Kenya. So for instance, in Australia, they're very strict on that. And in recent times, they've become even more strict on that issue, because you've already done a diploma. You can only come and do a bachelor's in Australia. You've already done a bachelor's, you can come and do a master's. So you always have to go higher. Sometimes I get questions like, I've already done the bachelor's here, but because of financial my financial situation, can I be able to do a diploma which is cheaper? Unfortunately, it might not happen that way. And of course, people have tried to cut the system, but then at the end of the day, they get caught, because some have gone into even to an extent of maybe fabricating papers and all, but then it has never worked for them, because the system just will catch up with them somehow. So you can always you should always go and do something that is higher than what you've already done. And then after that, of course, there's a process. We will look at your documentation. This is just the basic stuff. We have not even started doing the application yet. We're just looking at the course. We're just looking at your papers. We're looking at which level are you at. So just to ensure that you increase your chances of even getting the admission letter, everything has to be right. And then the final thing that I would mention about the whole thing is that you have to try and see how to cover any gaps that you have within your like in your profile. What gaps am I talking about? So assuming you finished your high school in maybe 2014, or maybe let's say let's give it 2014. I'm just giving this as an example. And then between 2014 and maybe 2020, there's really nothing to show what exactly you've been doing. There's a high chance that you might not be able to get a chance, because they'll be asking themselves, between this time, what have you been doing? So in Australia, they have been very sensitive in the sense that if you cannot even be able to account for 2 years, in between, I've seen even cases whereby a student finished their high school, like maybe in 2020, and then they didn't do anything up to 2022. When you're doing the application, it becomes a bit challenging. They will start querying, where was the student within these 2 years? Or even sometimes even 1 year, they will want to query and understand what were you doing during those years. So before even as you are looking at your papers, we always try and we'll guide you on how to, cover that gap, and to ensure that, you have a very strong profile as we are sending to the school. There are also other documentation that you're going to be required, but this is going to be on case-to-case basis. However, the basic documents that you must have are your passport, of course, your ID. You must have your academic documentation, and they have to be, like the genuine academic documentation, and all of them. And even sometimes I always encourage students to bring even those, those small courses that you might think are just small courses. Sometimes it is on-job training certificates. Please, you also have to provide those ones. They just help somehow. And then employment letters and a detailed CV, because they're going to be looking at the CV just to see if all the gaps have been covered. And then the other document that might be asked, and this is of course on case to case, depending on the school, will be a bank statement. But I always say that just, for the purposes of making this whole thing just go well, be ready to, prepare a bank statement for that. And then there's going to be something called a statement of purpose, or it's called a statement of purpose in Australia. Sometimes it's called a letter of intention in other cases. So this is just basically a document that you are writing. It's like more of an essay, you explaining to the school or to the embassy. And of course, when it comes to the embassy level, you have to prepare a statement of purpose. So this statement of purpose is basically a document that will help the admission team or the case officer who's going to be handling your visa to understand where you're coming from, your history. Of course, you're going to talk about your academic history, your professional history, and then your research on the institution that you're going to go into, your research on the country. So like generally, why would you be interested to go to Canada? Why would you be interested to go to Australia? What kind of research have you done about those two countries, or depending whichever country you're going to go to? And then they're also going to want to see the relationship between your course. That's why I'm saying it is very important that we do the things right in the first time. So they want to see you did a Bachelor of Business. Why are you coming here to do a Master of Education, for instance? So getting a reason why you're going to do that switch sometimes can be a bit of a challenge. But if, for instance, you did a Bachelor of Business and you're going to come and do a Master of Business, it is very easy for you to get reasons why you'd want to do such a thing. So that's why having a consistent course it's very important. So you'll explain why you're going to do that course, what benefits are you going to get from that, studying in that particular country from that course. And then eventually you're going to explain your future plans. So what plans do you have after finishing that particular course? In that statement also, this is where you'll declare your financial capability to study. Like if, for instance, you'll say where your source of finance is, and of course, the benefits that you're going to get in the future. What are your future plans? And in most cases, even if, for instance, you're going to wish to study or to stay in the country longer, you'll not say it that you want to stay in the country. You'll have to say that, like, I am coming to Australia. Can you hear me? Somebody saying volume less. Can you guys hear me?
You are audible.
You are okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we are able to hear you. We are able to hear you.
Your volume is very
thank you.
clear. Go ahead.
We can hear you. We hear you.
Okay, thank you so much.
We are getting you well. We are getting you well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. So, so basically, I was saying in that statement of purpose, you cannot say that I want to come to Australia and then I would want to stay there for forever, then look for opportunities there. You'll always have to explain and say that I want to come and then I want to come back home and, improve my life and all those things. So basically that is just the basic stuff. So of course, once the documents are ready, we'll be looking at that. We'll be guiding you. We'll be able to guide you on the university, which university is best for you, which state is going to be right for you and all that. And in Australia, we have different states. We have Western Australia. We have like 5 states and 2 territories. And so it will just depend. Well, I will be able to guide you on whichever one is best for you, and we'll tell you the benefits of living in that place and all that. And the beauty about it is that I'm already here. I know a bit more about these different places. By the grace of God, I've also traveled to other states, so I know I'll be able to guide you on exactly what is needed. So my team and I will compile it. My team will compile all the documents, submit an application to the school. It takes the application processes might take a bit long because so I'll address everything, the cost and everything. So just be patient. I've seen that issue about the cost. So we'll submit an application for you. The application process takes from the time of sending the application to maybe the time of getting the offer letter. It can take a month and a half, sometimes 2 months, because they'll go through every single document that we send. So that's pretty much it. So you'll get a letter, an offer letter. That offer letter can be either conditional or unconditional. A conditional offer letter is a letter that maybe they will require more information from you. So for instance, maybe they will ask for English, the English exam, proof of English proficiency. And I'll talk about that because this is not something that all students must have, but at the end of the day, it is something that is a very important document that will help you even get opportunities while you're on ground. So English proficiency is, we can do several tests to prove English proficiency, and English proficiency will be, and of course, remember, as we are doing this discussion of your course and all these things, we also tell you if this course will need English proficiency or not. So that's why I didn't include it as a basic document, because it is on a case-to-case basis. So, but at the end of the day, as a general rule of thumb, I will encourage you, as you're thinking of doing this process, please do those English proficiency tests because they will open doors for you when you're on ground. So English proficiency tests, some of them that you can be able to do for the purposes of migrating abroad are TOEFL. There is IELTS, that is International English testing, language testing system that is offered by either British Council or unit. I forget the other company that provides that. So we have TOEFL, we have IELTS, and we have PTE. So those are the 3 proficiency courses that you can be able to do. There's another one, but that one is specifically for those people who would want to do nursing. And I will also answer, there's a question about nursing that has come up. So for nursing programs and social work programs, you have to provide English proficiency. That one is a must upfront. There's no debate about that. And you have to get very high scores in the English proficiency. So social work and nursing are must, like you just have to, before even we start the process, we must have already provided the IELTS, and you have to get at least a 7.0 or 7.5 out of 9 for you to be able to get into a nursing program or a social work program. So that's pretty much it. So I've said we are at, I'll talk about everything, even education and all that. So I'll talk about all those things. So I'm at that point of conditional and conditional offer. So you get a conditional offer, you have to provide additional documentation or additional information. If you get an unconditional offer letter, then you might be needed. If you get an unconditional offer letter, then you would just go to the next step of paying your tuition fee. So let me talk about, I'm now into the finances now. So when it comes to coming abroad, unfortunately, of course, there are opportunities of you getting scholarships. But when it comes to Australia specifically, I'll talk about Australia. I don't know about Canada. Mom will help us when it comes to Canada. But best from where I sit, because I've worked with institutions and I've also worked at the agency level. What I know is that getting scholarships is not the easiest thing. And simply because, especially in Australia, for instance, education is their third largest export. It's the third largest income earner for the country. The education. A lot of foreigners are coming to Australia to study. So, and I'll talk about the benefits after I finish what I'm saying. So, getting scholarships is not the easiest thing because, if they give scholarships, scholarship basically is not as if you're being given for free. There's someone somewhere who is catering for your schooling so that you can be able to study. That's basically why there's a scholarship. So someone is footing your bill. So if they do that, then automatically they're losing income. So that is why in Australia, yes, you can get scholarships. However, they're not very easy to find. And just as generally, you can also Google this. There's something that is called the Australian Award. I think it's something like that. That is a yearly scholarship that they give for participating countries, and Kenya apparently is one of them. It is very competitive because in Africa, they only award it to around maybe 10 people. So you'll find that most cases, they give it to people who are going to do their PhD and not necessarily their master's or undergraduate, because it's very competitive. And remember, they also want people, very smart people, so that they can be able to retain that kind of talent here. But if you get the Australian Award scholarship, most likely you're supposed to come and study and go back to your country. So in what I've seen from my own research and what I've heard from even experts in the industry is that Australian Award, mostly, especially from African countries, it will go, and remember, it is only 20 slots for the entire Africa. So the level of competition is super high. And in most cases, the people who actually get those scholarships are PhD students. So if you're looking to do your bachelor's or your master's, that might not be the best place to go and look for scholarships. And again, it's only 20 slots, so, and you can imagine how many people are going to be applying. So scholarships are not very easy. Some schools will give you partial scholarships. So partial scholarship, you're talking about 20%, 25%, 30%. When I was coming here, I was given a 20% scholarship, and it's based on merit. You don't have to apply for that. It will automatically reflect on your offer letter when you get an offer letter. So they'll tell you, by the virtual fact that you've gotten maybe a second class upper or your GPA was good, we're going to give you an international merit scholarship for 20% or 25%. And that 25% is of the total fee, but again, it is not necessarily going to be like you're going to, like 25% is going to be slashed off from the initial amount of money that you're going to pay. It is going to be 25% broken down into small bits that spread across your duration of study. So it's 20%, so meaning that the first semester maybe you're going to pay less, $2,500, something like that. So it's not going to be like 25% of the total, then you slash it from whatever amount. No, it's going to be spread out, just as a way of ensuring that also you continue with them as a student. If they give you initially, things will change and they're going to be losing. So they try and make it that. And of course, when you have to come here and perform well for you to get it for the next semester, that's how they've structured it. So when it comes to scholarships, it's not easy to get, because remember, international education is a big honor for most of these countries, even Canada, I might say. But that should not stop you from looking for these opportunities. From where we sit, unfortunately, we cannot be able to help you get scholarships because the kind of partners that we are dealing with do not really have scholarships or do not offer scholarships. As I said, the most they can do is a partial scholarship. So it's not going to work out, unfortunately. So that's when it comes to school. But look, just do your search. There's Chevening scholarship they normally give out. Alex Chamwada is one of the most famous beneficiaries of that scholarship, and a few other people that I know. So you can always check out. It's offered every year. British Council offers a lot of scholarships. A lot of embassies, these foreign embassies, also offer scholarships. So you can just go into their websites, try and see what scholarships they have been in UK, in Australia. As I said, don't bother so much because here education is their biggest income earner. So most likely they're not going to give you so much scholarships, but they're still there. You can just Google and see. So from the scholarship point of view, I might not help you as much because we deal with self-sponsored students and that's how basically we came here. I also paid my tuition fee and that's why I'm here. So when it comes to the cost, the tuition fee normally ranges between 700,000 to even 1.3 million. And this is basically, in most cases, they're going to want you to pay insurance, health insurance, and 1 semester tuition fee. So the 700 to 1.3 million will cover your 1 semester tuition fee and insurance for the entire duration of time. Sometimes it's going to be maybe 6 months. I've seen in Canada, sometimes they will just want you to pay 6 months and then you're going to pay the rest of the amount while you're there. But in Australia, you have to, for instance, you're coming to do your master's for 2 years, you have to have insurance for 2 years. And that one is paid upfront with the tuition fee. So when it comes to the cost, the biggest amount will go to your tuition fee. That's just from my experience, basically. So we're talking about between 800,000 to 1.2 million. As I'm saying that, remember, it's simply because you're paying with the shilling, and sometimes the Kenyan shillings fluctuates based on the dollar. So it will just depend on that particular day. You might get that you'll get a quotation of the same amount, let's say $10,000, but someone else will pay less. Depending on the rate, someone will pay more. So these things, please understand, they're also affected by what is happening in the financial markets. So that is something also you need to consider. So there's always going to be that. But at the end of the day, that's basically it. So you pay your tuition fee, then you go to the next level, that is the visa processing. And here we also guide you on to prepare your documentation, draft your statement of purpose, and then we'll be able to help you submit the visa. And as I said, they're going to be looking at those things that I mentioned earlier. They're going to be looking at the consistency, of course. They're going to be looking at, of course, sometimes they also look at your age. So there's certain ages that we unfortunately cannot be able to process. However, that should not be a big issue so long as you have a good explanation to why you want to study, and there's consistency. There is like you have proper papers, employment letters, and all those things. Then age should not be a big factor. We can always bypass that depending on the quality of documents that we be able to submit. And then I've seen someone asking about the green card. I'll just answer that very quickly. Green cards are mostly offered in the US, and that is something that you can easily apply when they're open. And in most cases, they open in November. Please try them out. I've also tried them out, and I will still try. There's really no harm in putting in an application. So that's very simple. You just keep on checking the diversity, something like. You have to also be very careful because there's a lot of fraudulent links when it associated with the green card. So when they announce or when you know about it, in most cases, they normally open in November, October. So this year, be on the lookout, October, November, thereabout. Just check out. You can always Google, you can always maybe You will see them maybe advertised on the cyber cafe somewhere. Someone will be able to okay, someone will be able to assist you. And so with the green card, that is just something you can be able to do. And of course, what I can say about the green card is in recent times, they've changed the requirements. In the past, they didn't require a passport for you to apply. But recently, you have to have a passport. That's why a passport is a basic requirement when you're thinking about opportunities abroad. So please have your passport. Even for the green card, you'll have to apply using that. And I have good friends who have gone to the US using the green card. And it's something that is good, but the process is you have to apply, wait for you to be shortlisted. When the list is out, you're going to do an interview. And then after the interview is when now you can be able to go into US. So it is still a process. No one should tell you that once you've gotten the green card, it's a sure bet that you're going to the US. No, there's an interview that is going to be waiting for you later on before they can actually allow you to get into the country. And also with the green card, you must also try and see if you can be able to get someone in the US so that they can be able to now assist you when you're doing your settling, because sometimes they would also want to know who is going to receive you on the other end. So that's basically about the green card. I might not mention so much about it because I've not done it myself, but I understand how it works. And please, these are things that you just try. Don't, there's no requirement, there's no big deal about it. Once it's open, please, all of us, if it's possible, you just apply. You never know, you might be on that list. So that's it. So I think I've covered the cost. So other associated costs are, of course, you're going to pay for your visa application. You're also going to pay for medical tests. You're also going to pay for biometrics. And this applies to both Canada and Australia. And the US process is a bit different. I wouldn't want to mention that because as Mom already told us earlier, the best places to go right now for education and other opportunities are in Canada and Australia. So then you do your visa processing, you'll wait for a duration of maybe 2 months, then your visa will be out. A visa decision will be given. Sometimes it will come earlier, sometimes it will come later. But at the end of the day, the best thing to do normally is to start this process early. So if you're targeting the February intake next year, this is the best time to start the process. Because as you've noticed, there's a lot of things in between that you need to do. And also for the purposes of planning your finances, I normally believe that starting early is better. And then you can always get your visa early. And in Australia, they will allow you to come here even up to 3 months before your starting date. So you can imagine you're starting in February, in October, you're already in Australia. Then what does that mean to you? It means that you will settle well. You can be able to even start working to raise your tuition fee for the next semester, even before your actual semester starts. Then it means it gives you a better chance of succeeding here, because you've sorted out the culture shock issue, you have sorted out the financial bit, you have sorted out the issue of getting jobs because you land here. There's a few other things that you need to do for you to be able to get a job and all that. So you've already done all that within the 3 months or so. And then you can always start your course in good time and without any pressure. So that's just basically a rule of thumb that I normally say. Please don't start now and you're targeting the July intake. That will be too much pressure. Yes, we can try our level best to get you in the July intake, but it will be too soon. It will be too much pressure. And you'll just be torturing yourself psychologically. Let me talk about teaching, because I've seen that question coming up a lot of times. One thing I can tell you about the teaching profession is that it will give you PR very fast. PR is permanent residency in Australia. So for teachers, this is your time. It is indeed the best time to travel abroad, because apparently there's a big shortage, especially in Australia. Even when I was just landing, there was a lot of advertisement being done on TV and all media, trying to get teachers. And my wife is going to talk about the English proficiency test. I'll give her a chance later. on how she does it, because she is the one in charge of English proficiency in our company. So I'll give her a chance later to talk about that. I've seen that question coming up. So please, darling, be ready to answer that question. So let me talk about education profession. So education is one of the highly sought after careers in Australia. And as I was saying when I was landing last year, that is one of those shortage, like there was an acute shortage of teachers. Apparently, not so many Australians like teaching. And so they have an acute shortage of teachers here. So if you're a teacher and you wish to study abroad, please, this is your time, because that shortage has not been met up to now, honestly, and they are needing teachers. However, for teachers, you have to also meet the very high English language proficiency test. Actually, education has a higher English proficiency requirement than nursing. But at the end of the day, once you get here, you will really, you'll be very highly sought after. Actually, education is one of those careers that you can actually do 1 year of study and honestly land a job even as you're studying, and with a very good institution, and even the government can help you and facilitate and all that. But there's of course procedures to that. It's not like as easy as I'm mentioning. There's a few other things that you have to meet first of all when you're here, before you can be. You have to be cleared to work with children. You have to maybe do some placements and all. You have to go through a few other processes before you can be able to get a job. However, because of the shortage, that is a sure bet that you can actually land a job here when it comes to teachers. Now, let me answer something that I know has come up, and this is just generally. I'm going to answer that question, but then I'm going to answer it also generally. So someone might be asking themselves, I'm already a teacher right now. I've done teaching for the past maybe 10 years or so. Can I be able to just come to Australia and start teaching? Unfortunately, the answer is no. You might not be able to do that. And even that applies to even engineers, as I've seen someone is asking. And engineering is also one of the highly sought after careers in Australia. So how it works with the Australian system and job system, and based on, of course, how I knew it and what I'm seeing currently, because I'm in the Australian system right now. I work with Australian companies right now. Is that you must have Australian qualifications for you to be able to work in a professional job in Australia. What does that mean? You're a teacher, yes, you have experience, you have been working, you've done your PP1, is it? I don't know, the most basic, let me just say you've even done your master's in education or your bachelor's in education. You have maybe 10 years experience in Kenya and all those things. You have been registered by TSC and all those things. But unfortunately, you cannot just come to Australia to work. This is because you have to get Australian qualifications for you to be able to get Australian jobs. Unfortunately, that is just how the system is. So you are an engineer, you have good experience in Kenya, all that, but you still have to come and study in Australia for a certain duration of time. And in most cases, it's 2 years. And even in education, it has to be 2 years for you to be able to get Australian jobs. So, and master's program is 2 years, a bachelor's program is 3 years. So unfortunately, job opportunities cannot be there. I'm not saying it is impossible for you to come. However, the easiest, fastest way to migrate normally is through education. And that's why you see a lot of people are coming as students as opposed to just coming professionally. There are other different types of visas that you can actually come and start working, but that is a super long process. It's very costly. And it is rarely do we get so many Africans coming in. And as Mom was saying initially, is that a person who has gone to the US and studied in US and wishing to come to Australia, it's going to be easier for them as compared to someone who's just studied in Kenya. So that's unfortunately is just the way the system is. And of course, another reason why we are disadvantaged as an African country is that the way that we do our training is a bit inferior as compared to what they are doing. Okay, inferior doesn't mean that we are not learned. Inferior doesn't mean that we are not. It's only that, you know, their curriculum is developed. It is developed differently. Mom told us that this competency-based system that we're trying to implement in Kenya, they already implemented it almost like so many years ago. So it is well advanced, well structured, and all these things. And it's set in such a way that it's very easy for them to, you know, it's very dynamic in the sense that they can be able to change it depending on the change needs at the moment. So the career needs at the moment, they can be able to change them and you know, very fast. So that is basically the reason why we cannot come and work here directly. So I hope I've answered that question. So, you know, like we be able to get work opportunities here. But the other thing is, when you're a student and you're studying in Australia or Canada, Mom already told us that she has a work permit. So she's allowed to work as you study. I am also working as I'm studying. And that is the beauty about these countries, is that you can be able to be doing your schooling, and you have to do your schooling even here. I personally have to go to class. Like tomorrow I have a class on Tuesday and Wednesday. I have to attend my classes. They mark the attendance and all. And I'm allowed to work. So it's just a matter of balancing and knowing exactly how I'm planning my time and all that. And because the system works, it is very possible. So we work even at night sometimes, you work during the day, you have to attend your classes, you have to do your assignments and all these things. But at the end of the day, you are allowed to work as you study. And remember, the beauty about it also is that you're going to get a minimum wage as compared to the other Australians. So for instance, I'm being paid minimum wage as, you know, like of course, like the minimum wage is set for everyone. It's equal. So like what the Australian will be paid is exactly the same what I will be paid. They don't discriminate. Yeah. Okay. So we're talking about accommodation. Scholarships, I think I covered that pretty well. And then accommodation, it will just depend on what you're looking at. The different accommodations. So of course, I'm assuming you've already gotten your visa, you are coming here. One of those things we're also going to be helping you up with is to identify accommodation accommodation facilities for you. Of course, the schools offer accommodation on campus, or they can offer you off-campus accommodation, but most people will prefer living outside the campus because it's cheaper. And I'm also personally living outside campus. I've just rented my own house outside campus. It's cheaper for me. There's the convenience of I can walk in and out anytime I want. And then school accommodation is available, but in most cases it's very expensive. But it's a dorm kind of setup, so most people don't want it. Especially if you're a mature student, you're used to living with your own terms. You don't want a situation whereby the gates are locked, you know, all these things and all that. And then that is normally for young people, school accommodation. It's mostly, of course, you can get for mature students, but that will mean you have to pay more for you to get a 1-bedroom or something like that. So accommodation, most people prefer staying outside. Yeah. And then I was now talking about the opportunities. You are here, you're paid minimum wage. It is, you're looking at the investment that you've put in. So at the end of the day, by the time you're doing this whole process, most time you're going to have spent about 1.5, 1.6 million, because remember, I've not touched on the ticket. And of course, before you come, you have to pay your ticket, and this also fluctuates on price. That's why I cannot give an exact figure. But the opportunities are immense in the sense that you are allowed to work as you study, systems are working, no discrimination and all that. So you can actually be able to recoup your investment within a shorter duration of time as compared to if, for instance, you have taken that money and done something back at home. Of course, it just depends on what you want. But because the systems work, no discrimination at all, getting back this money can take you a short duration of time. At most 1.5 years, you will have recouped back your investment. And then someone asked about coming with your family. It is possible that you can be able to migrate with your family. However, there's a minimum requirements that you have to meet for such. In Australia, if you want to come with your family, assuming you're coming as a student, remember there's the financial bit to cater for. So when you're doing the visa, they will ask you to demonstrate that you have enough money for you to be able to cater for your own needs and also for the person that you want. So it can either be your spouse or your children, or depending on the situation. So if it's you and the spouse only, minus the children, then you have to at least demonstrate that you have 8 million and above in your account for you to be able to cater for your stay in Australia and all those things. And then, of course, remember when you're lodging the visa, if the visa fee right now for Australia is 65,000, you have to pay 65,000 times 2. So then, and then medical is 20,000. It's up 20,000 times 2. So sometimes the financial bit becomes a challenge. So remember, for an individual, you're talking about 1.5 million. For 2 people, of course, it's going to be more, because the other person also has to have a health insurance. As much as they're not paying the tuition fee, they have to have health insurance, they have to have a ticket, they have to lodge their visa, they have to do medicals, biometrics. So meaning that the bill balloons up to in excess of even 2.2 million or 2.5 million, or even more, depending on the exchange rates also, or such dynamics. And then the issue of bank statement, 8 million sometimes to get sponsored. And remember, even around the sponsorship, you cannot just come to Dennis, even if I have today the 8 million in my account, you cannot just come and tell me randomly that Dennis, I want you to give me I want you to give me your bank statement. Unfortunately, that cannot happen, because you have to prove how you're related to me. So you have to provide, if I'm your father, then I have to provide my birth certificate, my ID, you provide your birth certificate, my name has to be on your, all that thing. There's the proof of relationship. And also, I have to prove where I'm getting these funds from. And in most cases, not so many people are comfortable to tell people randomly where I got the money. I have 8 million in my account. That's my business. I'm willing to give you that document, but I'm not willing to tell you where I got the 8 million from in most cases. So coming with your family is very possible. However, factoring in the financial implication and also the requirement by the government, then it becomes a problem. And also, when it comes to the genuine, remember initially when I told you about the statement of purpose, I said that you have to demonstrate that you are coming and you're going to go back to your country. So if you're coming, the both of you, sometimes I'm saying this very carefully. Sometimes this can be interpreted as you're migrating. There's nothing that is holding you back in your country. So meaning that in most cases, you are not going to go back. So it can also like negatively impact your visa application. So if they are seeing that all of you are coming out of Kenya, then most likely there's no chance of you going back. But again, as I've said, it is sometimes, yeah. So that one can affect. So it just depends on how the case officer will interpret your visa application. But over and above, guys, I will just say, getting out of the country, even if it is not necessarily for the purposes of even just getting the opportunities, it just opens your mind to a lot of other things. You see things differently. Mama has told us that she has experienced this issue of going to the mall and you just do your own things in an honest way. It is exactly the same thing in Australia. We check out our shopping just the same way. Even the bus, there's no one to collect fare, even on the train. You have your card, it's called a Go card. You just load it with money, and that is done online. When you're getting onto the bus, you just tap it. You get into the bus. When you're leaving, you tap it again, and no one is going to monitor you. So it is just even experiencing those things, it's just amazing. So I would always encourage us, as much as we love our country, but at the end of the day, there's so much opportunities out here. Australia, I am in Queensland. Queensland is 3 times the size of Kenya. The population of Queensland currently is less than 2 million. And the opportunities are so many. Even if you just Google right now, shortage of employment in Australia, you'll see it is a big issue. Like right now, they really need people to work in so many diverse industries. So I think this is the right time for us to take up these opportunities. And remember, unfortunately, we are not the only ones looking for these opportunities. Nigerians are crazy. These people are everywhere. Literally, they are here, they are taking up every opportunities. In fact, Nigerians have gone a step higher than Kenyans. They have even come here and set up companies. So we really have to also step up our game. This is the time to like just take up these opportunities. The initial investment can look big, but at the end of the day, look at it as an investment. You always invest, and then at some point you'll get returns. It might not come as fast as you would want, but at the end of the day, the returns are going to be there. The returns are the high standard of living. The returns are the opportunity to just be in a place whereby you can just work and your work will pay you, in a system whereby actually, that investment can come back in a very short time. And you can be able to even do your own projects back at home. Sometimes you don't have to even come and stay here for forever. You can actually come, get the money, get the whatever, the exposure, get the knowledge and all these things, set up your stuff back at home. After a certain duration of time, relocate back. No one is stopping you from doing that. But at the end of the day, there are so many opportunities out here, and I would encourage people to come and just be here. Someone has asked about which cities are the best to settle in Canada and Australia. I would say, so long as you're in this country, it doesn't really matter which state you are in. We will guide you based on the availability of your course in a particular state, because some universities based in some areas will offer specific courses based on that. Because as I said, the curriculum in Australia is developed based on the place where the university is. So like you'll find, if that area is an agricultural area or they grow wine, you'll get that specific universities there will be offering winery courses, and not necessarily in another place where there's no wine cultivation or something. I'm just giving that as an example. So they're developed based on the needs of that particular place. So you'll find even allocation of courses. You might find education, they have allocated more slots in a certain university, maybe because there's a need there as compared to another place. All these things, they have deliberately made these decisions based on the needs and what they want. So all these cities are good, and I would always encourage, and there's also a rule when I'm helping students to select these courses, I'm also looking at the long term. There are certain cities in Australia, when you come, if you want to stay longer, the chances of you staying longer here are going to be reduced. An example is Sydney. Sydney, initially when they were planning Sydney, they only needed 4 million or at most 4 million people. Right now, Sydney, we are heading to 6 million people. They don't want any more people there. So if you're an international student and you go to study in Sydney, there's high chance that even when you're going to get, when you're applying for your graduate visa later on, they're not going to give you more than 2 years. But when I'm in Queensland, and because it's the population is still small and they want people to still come to this area, they're going to give me a longer visa because they want me to stay here. So when you're making those decisions, also look at those circumstances. Like there are cities that have already reached their peak. They are big cities. Cost of living is expensive. As an international student, you don't want to go to a place whereby the cost of living is very high. So you are looking at, so I would encourage you to go to the quote unquote Ushago of these countries. But Ushago, you'll be shocked. A place in Eito Ushago is super developed. It has perfect tarmac roads, facilities everywhere. I recently visited a public hospital in Sunshine Coast, and I've gone to several other public hospitals because of the nature of work that I do. You will look at these facilities and you're just amazed. Public hospitals are like perfect in terms of everything. So go to regional areas, go to places that are at least developed, because chances of you remaining there are higher, and the cost of living is also going to be low, because you don't want to be spending a lot of money and yet you're looking for that money. Yeah. So I think I will ask my wife to talk about English proficiency, and then I'll be going through the other questions. If there's any other question that I haven't answered, I'll try and answer them once after my wife has done. And then I'll tell you now a bit about our company, so that now you can see how best we can be able to assist you. So, darling, can you talk about English, please?
About English, we have of two kinds. We have the academic training. Basically, general training is about just having the knowledge of English, which has mainly four areas. We have the listening, we have speaking, we have reading and writing. So normally you'll be examined in those four areas. For training, it's specifically done which require the high band. When you talk about the high band, you're talking about numbers of 7.5 to 8.5 there and above. That is, medical courses also have the high requirements of 7.5 and above, of which when we train, it's not anything hard. Actually, they want just to get your speed of listening or your attention, how attentive you can be, how easy you can get to be when you're being given instructions. That is, reading is all about speed and everything. Okay, those are the things that maybe you get down to know when we start the training part of it, but it's not anything hard. If you are supposed to get an academic training, we will always offer you for 3 weeks and then book you for your exams. It depends with how flexible you are. So how flexible you are depends with the days that are available. Centers are in Eldoret, Nairobi, as of now. Not sure if in Kisumu, but in Eldoret and Nairobi, we have training centers, or not training per se, but examination centers. So once you register for your exams, you can always have it either online or physical, which normally advise learners to be physical because sometimes it can be it comes to
Sorry, Diana, you are breaking.
Yeah.
Doctor?
Electrical appliances.
Sorry, we lost her again. I think
Okay.
I think Dennis for the English tests. Let's organize for a day, like what you've taken us through. Then we can have Diana prepare for like an hour, because it's also something that people need to know, so that we are not rushing over. Then Diana can maybe come in maybe after either next week or after next week, so that she can take us through the English proficiency test.
Okay.
What is required. Yes.
That's fine. So, okay, maybe, Ma'am, allow me just to mention something about that, because I, as much as I wanted her to talk about it, I can also try and answer a few things about that. So someone was asking about the centers. The centers she was trying to tell us that the centers are in Eldoret and Nairobi. And so this is basically, for English, the English proficiency, as I said earlier, We have TOEFL, we have PTE, and we have IELTS. So for the IELTS test can be done in Eldoret. It's offered by British Council. So you can just look for British Council. You will see. But then at Mashariki Exposure, that's why I wanted to leave this for the last part, where we can be able to guide you on how to whichever center you want to go to and all these things. So we will help you book your exam, help you prepare for that particular exam, and so we'll do all these things for you basically. So for the IELTS, it's done by British Council. For the TOEFL, it's done by UNISERV, and then we have PTE is done by, I think, still UNISERV, but that one is done in Nairobi. So IELTS, you can do it either paper-based or online. TOEFL has to be, it's online, but then you do it in a specific center. Same to PTE, you have to do it online, but in a specific center. So TOEFL and PTE in basic terms are computer-based. IELTS, you can get a paper-based version, but then there's also a computer-based version that came up recently. So that's pretty much about it. And then remember, at Mashariki Exposure, our offices are based in Eldoret. You can be able to assist you in the training and preparation of those exams. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, someone has already shared their British Council and all that. So let me talk about a bit about medical, Mom. I hope we're not running out of time. I also have to be sensitive about that.
Yeah, let's just continue.
Okay, about medical courses. Someone has asked about medical courses. So what I can tell you for free is that medical courses are highly sought after in most countries abroad. And they have a very high rate of return in terms of the entry salary and all these things. And of course, getting a job is going to be very easy for you. However, as I said, you have to have the medical background, first of all, in Kenya for you to come and do that. And what I normally say, because again, this information also might help not only you here in this platform, but also maybe someone that you might know. What I normally say is, it is a waste of money to come and study something like medicine in like Australia or Canada. It's very expensive. It's super demanding. And remember, we are coming here for the opportunity of also getting this money. So I would not encourage people to do those two courses, and dentistry, that is also another thing, and pharmacy. Those are the only courses, medical courses, that I will try and discourage people from doing. But if you have the financial muscle, then there's no problem. If you're not the kind of student who is coming to work to raise their tuition fee for you to be able to sustain yourself here and also wish to maybe invest back at home, then it is okay. You can encourage that person or yourself. You can come and do those courses. What I've said is pharmacy, dentistry, medicine. Those are courses that I will not encourage people to come and do here because of the entry requirements are very high. The course already is so demanding and it's very expensive to study those courses here. So if you're interested in medical courses, nursing, of course, is top on the list. There are other courses that people do not consider, but they are very marketable, like biomedical science, health promotion, public health. And the way public health is being taught here is totally different. It's not the way it is being taught in Kenya. I remember myself, I wanted to study public health, and I remember someone telling me, when you unataka kwenda kuangalia sewage, that is the understanding of public health in Kenya. However, I'm currently studying my Master of Public Health here. I'm doing a double master's in global public health and global project management. It is also allowed, you can actually do something like that. So I'm doing that, and the way they teach here is totally different. We are actually studying aspects of health, not necessarily sewages and inspecting butcheries, how butcheries are clean and all those things. No, that's public health in Kenya, but here it's basically about health promotion, literally. So those courses are also very important. Someone is talking about tourists. Let me see. I'll get that question, but so health courses are highly marketable. The other course that people ignore and it's very, very marketable is laboratory related courses. So we are talking about biotech, biochem, laboratory science. Those courses are highly sought after in Canada and also in Australia. So those are courses that I would always encourage people to do, apart from the medicine and maybe even sometimes nursing, because some of these courses will have a lower entry requirement to nursing. Yeah, so you can also consider those ones as you're thinking about. Physiotherapy is also a good course. And you can actually do that. And it's also not very pricey, so that is okay. I saw some question about hospitality. If I'm currently doing a course like hospitality. Yes, you can actually come and do hospitality. Hospitality is also one of those courses, and apparently I was realizing recently that hospitality can give you permanent residency very easily in Australia, and even culinary arts. I think maybe food science will also fall into that category. I've seen someone has said culinary arts, chefs, all these people, you get PR very fast when you come to Australia. So hospitality, tourism, because remember, Australia is also marketing itself so much about as a tourist destination. So caregiving, I don't know what you mean about caregiving, but I think, as I said, that will fall under individual support or social work, then still marketable. So hospitality, very marketable also. And then there's something about KMTC. Let me just answer that real quick. And if there's any other question, please just send them on the chat. I'll be able to see. What if I have a diploma in nursing from KMTC? What do you mean? What after that, what happens? What are you looking at? Do you want to come and do? So in most cases, let me just, I think I understand what your question. If you have a diploma from KMTC, you'll come and do a bachelor's of nursing in Australia. And a Bachelor of Nursing takes 3 years. So if you've done your diploma in Kenya, sometimes they'll give you credits. But what I normally tell students is that don't seek credits while you're in Kenya, because it will make your process very lengthy, and they will need a lot of other things. So please come to Australia, then seek credits while you are here. However, there's even no need of you seeking credits, because if you study for those 3 years, you're increasing your duration of stay in Australia. You're increasing your chances of getting permanent residency, because when they're assessing you for permanent residency, they're going to be looking at the duration of time that you stayed here. So basically, that is, I think, what you might be asking. How many exams will I do to dentistry? I said I don't encourage people to come and do dentistry, but it's a good course. If you want to do it and you have the financial muscle, well and good, consider it. There's no problem. What of statistics? I will not talk about all the courses, unfortunately, because I'm now seeing people just popping in all courses. I cannot talk about all of them. It just depends. If your background is statistics and maths, we will guide you on which course will be best, based on if we start the process. Teaching, I talked about teaching earlier. Maybe some of you missed out, but I said teaching is one of the highly sought after courses in Australia, specifically because there's an acute shortage of teachers here.
Even
so
in
if
Canada?
you would, lovely.
Yeah.
So guys, if you are teachers, this is your time. Just prepare, get your papers ready. We will guide you on a few things. But then for teachers, you have to pass your English proficiency, because it has a higher English proficiency requirement, as even more than nursing. So for those ones, you have to start from the English point of view. You prepare for English, book, do it, and then now you can start the process. You have to get a 7.5 out of, we have language, and no, Swahili, no, unfortunately. So these countries are English speaking countries. So just take it from, that's why they want to prove that you are English proficient. Yes, you can come and do electrical engineering and continue doing it here. That is possible. As I said initially, they will be looking at the continuity of your course from what you did in Kenya and what you want to come and do here. So I think I've answered most of the questions. Someone talked about, said I talk a bit about our company. No, you cannot come and do internship here, unfortunately. You cannot. I don't think because the qualifications are different. So you will come and start studying here for you to be able to get internship and even employment opportunities after you've gotten qualifications from these countries. So someone talked, let me talk a bit about our organization. So Mashariki Exposure is the company that we are using. So I must say I'm also one of the clients of Mashariki Exposure, despite the fact that I started it myself. So we run it together with my wife. My wife is back in Kenya, and our offices are located in Eldoret. I will share my wife's number and also maybe my number, so that you can be able to get in touch with us if you need the process. But she would be the best person to contact because she's on the ground. But we work hand in hand. I deal with the operations bit of the company, whereby I'm the one who does the visas and all these things by the virtue of my experience. And they do all the other stuff. So they're actually doing even more, but I'm also here to guide them and to guide you on anything that you want on the ground, accommodation issues and everything, because I'm on the ground. So what we do is facilitate the process. As I said, we don't assist students to get scholarship, neither do we work with any scholarship giving bodies. We only deal with self-sponsored students. So you will be paying for all these things that you will come. And we also have our service charges. So we charge an amount, and of course, I will not want to mention the amount here, but I would wish if someone will be interested, we will talk about that later. But we have an agency fee that we charge all students who come and study and work and wish to get our services. So, and it's paid in 2 installments. So we will tell you how the installments will be paid. So that's basically our work. We'll help you look at the documents, help you match you with the perfect university for you, guide you on all the issues that are in between you getting an offer letter and getting the visa. And personally, I'm the one who handles the visas because of my experience. So I will be able to, I'll be the one to go through your documents and all these things. But I have a very dedicated and competent team on the ground that can be able to guide you in everything. We do the English training in our office. As I said, you don't have to worry about anything when you come to us. Even those issues of passports and all those things, we can be able to guide you if you wish to. But again, passports, you can just do it in the cyber, get the passports and all that. But if you wish to get guidance, we can be able to assist you on that. So we try as much as possible to help our clients, like end to end. So you've already gotten your visa, you are planning to travel, we are going to assist you in booking the tickets, trying to see best accommodation options for you. And especially for those people who are coming to Australia. And now that we have a link through Madam Christine in Canada, I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot, ma'am, but we can be able to see how best you can be able to assist, even in advising on just how to get accommodation facilities. So basically, we do end-to-end kind of a service at Mashariki Exposure. That's basically it. And we called it Mashariki Exposure because there's one pastor who told me that all good things come from the East. The wise men came from the East. The sun rises from the East. So Mashariki is East. So, and then exposure, we want people to just know that there's greater opportunities beyond what you can even think about. Myself, I didn't even know that people go out to study. Apparently, a few of my friends finished campus immediately. They started this process. I didn't know until I started working in the industry. And it's through that exposure that I was able to understand a lot of things and know a lot of things And I was privileged enough, even before coming to Australia now for a long-term duration, I had come here twice before. And that exposure really opened up my mind to see that there's a lot of possibilities out there. And that's basically why Mashariki Exposure was born, so that we can bring these good things to people. And that's why we are willing to, share with this information with as many people as possible. Because at the end of the day, if we can be able to change someone's life by just sharing this information with you or helping you and facilitating that process, then we have already achieved our purpose and dream and desire here. So that's basically what we do. And I will share my wife's number so that you can be able to communicate to her, and she will be able to guide you whoever is interested. She will give you the requirements, all these things she'll be able to guide you on. Yeah, so that's basically about Mashariki Exposure. And then someone asked about English proficiency. Yes, that test expires. Most cases, it's 2 years. After 2 years from the date of doing it, it will expire. But if you do it and come with it to, it only expires, honestly, if you do it and you don't do anything about it in Kenya. For instance, you did it in 2019. Right now, you cannot use it for anything. But if you do it in 2022 and immediately you come to Australia, then you can still use it for a longer time. Most institutions and employers will accept it even beyond the expiry date, just by the virtue of fact that you have it. But if you do it and stay with it back at home, then it's not gonna, of course, the expiry date will affect you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're still on. Continue.
No, I just wanted to ask if there are any other questions, because I think I've answered most of the questions that were put on the chat. So maybe I'll take it back to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, my son. The reason as to why he's calling me mom is because he married my daughter. Diana was my high school student, and one of the best students I had back then in the year, Diana did Form 4 in 1990. Was it 99? When did
It
Diana?
was back in 2010. I joined
2010,
in 2006.
sorry. Yeah, 2010,
Yeah.
yes, 2010, 2010, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2010. I'm talking about 1999, and I had not even started teaching. Yeah. So yeah, that was St. Mary's Mumias Girls, and I really treasure my students from the time I started working. And that is why you can see we are still in a relationship up to now. So that is why I usually don't lose touch of my students, because I know there is something that have impacted in you that can help me, can help you, and can help us work together to transform our country. Thank you very much, Dennis. Thank you very much, Diana. We'll be engaging Diana more because she's in Kenya. We don't want to keep on waking you up at 1. Yeah, so
no, there's no problem. There's no problem, Mami.
Continue engaging with us on our Sunday meetings, because we want to make this like a habit for us to meet every Sunday. Unfortunately, the link that I have has a limited number of 100. So I also need to ask the members later on if we can be able to purchase a link that can accommodate 1,000 people. I'm seeing so many people who are left outside hanging. So what I will do, I will share I'll share the recording, because I've been recording in my whatever on my laptop. I'll share the recording so that those who didn't join the meeting can be able to follow what we did. So maybe just give Diana's number verbally. Diana, you can give out your phone number so that people can start reaching out to you.
I've shared it on the chat. But again, you can just repeat. There's no problem for those people who just want to write it right now or save it right now.
Yeah, because of the recording.
I can even.
Yeah, because of the recording, and people will be listening to the recording. Just say it out.
So Diana's number is 0724 411 221.
0724-411-221. She's a student that I have taught. She is born again. We are not doing this to exploit anyone. We just want to assist you because it's a company that is already in working. Yeah, it's a company that is already working and they know everything. You know, mimi ni ile kutapa-tapa. The way I did it, I'll guide you. Oh, this is what I did. This is what I did. But you can see the way Dennis has taken us through the procedures, structurally, what we need to have, how we need to acquire it, how we will move on. So they'll be able to help you step by step. To be honest, I did my IELTS test in 2019 when some agent was trying to cheat me. In fact, I told you I was conned over 600,000 shillings. I did my IELTS test then. I did not get the band that was needed. I repeated the test. I scored the band, but by the time I'm scoring the band, other things have been overtaken by time. So these guys just took my money like that. So because it expired, this time around when I was coming to Canada, I had to do the IELTS exam again. And believe me, you cannot just go to the exam room and pass. You have to be trained. You have to be trained on how to go about all those tests. So that is why Diana comes in very handy to help us be able to overcome that whatever. Because when you're doing the exam, you're paying a lot of money. Back then, I was paying it was about 20,000 for IELTS. In February, when I was doing the IELTS tests, it had already gone shoot to 28,000 shillings. So I don't know. It is something that you need to prepare well for, so that you don't keep on wasting your money. Yeah. So I think up to where we've reached, it's now 32. Yeah, Maureen is saying it's now 32K. Oh my God.
Right now it's 30,000.
30,000. It is expensive. So you have to be prepared. So you have to have somebody with the knowledge to help you know how to respond to the listening questions, how to listen first, not just answering the questions, how to do the listening and the way the questions come, and the best way you can respond for you to get that high band. You'll not just go in like what you know. I am a teacher of English and literature, and I thought it is something very simple because I did English and literature up to including university and beyond, and I even have a doctorate. You know, I'm like, sasa watu wanatesa watu nini? Yeah, but you have to be trained. You have to be trained. So if it is you or your child who is interested to study abroad, you now have the tips, and we will continue supporting you. We'll continue helping you to know how best. Let me tell you, this is the best decision I ever made in my life, and I'm so happy about it. As much as I'm struggling in the initial months, that is why I was trying to shout, oh, please help me, contribute something for my fees, because my fees for my course, it takes 2 million per year. So I've already paid 1 million. I am like, I have to raise the next 1 million for before 1st of May. That is why I was like, I don't have any shortcut. I cannot work within 20 days if I get any job to raise that amount of money. I'm happy to learn that in Australia, you can go to Australia 3 months before and you're allowed to work. In Canada, if your study permit is attached, your work permit is attached to your study permit, you're not allowed to work until you start studying. So I cannot work at the moment until 1st of May. You can be sure the way I'll be running up and down collecting those dollars. So that is why I was like, can't my friends help me? Yeah. So if you still think you can still join my group to assist me raise the fee, 100 shilling, 200, 500, 1,000, whatever is appreciated, because the amount will not reduce, it will continue increasing, and I'll be able to get my target by 1st of May. Otherwise, I want to say thank you very much for coming into the room. I'll also think about how best to have a room that can accommodate 1,000 people, because that one I have to pay like 16,000 for every month. I just took this one for 100 people because I can't afford, at the moment, I can't afford to raise the 16,000 because I'm not in any payroll. So if you can also think about, if you have a link that can accommodate 1,000 people, you can still use your link. We can still use your link to have many people in the house. So we only got to a limit of 100 people because of the limit of the link that I purchased. Otherwise, mbarikiwe sana. And because my daughter is a strong believer, and she's saved and she believes in God, I want to request her to pray for us so that we can wind up our meeting.
Can we try Google, please?
Google? The only challenge with Google.
Can we try Google Meet?
Yeah, the only challenge with Google Meet, you have to have a Gmail account, and not everybody has a Gmail account. That is why Zoom is more, as in it is more friendlier. Even the features of Zoom are actually the best for any large meeting. But we can try Google, we see how many will join the meeting. Yeah, thank you very much. Diana, can you pray for us? And then I'll also have a friend, Anne is here with us. She can also assist us in sign language, because I don't want to leave the special needs behind. So I'll also request Anne at some point to assist us with sign language so that nobody is left behind, so that it is all inclusive. Ninawapenda, asanteni sana, Celine, Augustine, Charles, Pamela, Sarah, Nancy, Kennedy, Mary, Rose, Joshua, Emma, everybody, George, Damaris, really, my God bless you for being positive and joining this meeting. I hope you have been blessed. And remember, when you are blessed, it is not for you, you are blessed to be a blessing. Next time, come with someone. Let them learn, because what I know, knowledge is non-rivalry. Even if you fight me how, you will not take what I have. I have it. So when I'm sharing, I'm also learning. I'm increasing in getting more information. But if you stick to what you know, you will remain with that, and you will never grow. So that is why I usually open my hands and say, GL, give love, get love. So if you have your hands open, you give, you will also get back. So may God bless you. Diana, please pray for us. Daughter, she went.
Okay, let's all believe and pray.
All right.
Let's all believe and pray. Dear Lord, in the name of Jesus Christ, we thank you, we honor you, give you glory, honor, and adoration, Lord, for this wonderful time that you've given us together, Lord, as your sons and daughters. This evening, we just want to be grateful unto you because, Father, in your word, it's been said that, Lord, we knock and the door shall be opened unto us. We seek and we shall find. My Father, this evening, we are here to seek and to know, Lord, more of which what you want us to achieve at the end of our lives, to achieve our purposes, to get our vision straight, Lord. And through this meeting, dear Lord, we pray that most of these visions and most of these goals may be achieved even through our meetings, Lord. May we have an opportunity to gain more knowledge even within ourselves. May we have an understanding of whatever we are sharing together, my Redeemer. And Father, for those who are even desiring to go out and study, desiring to go out and make a beautiful life. Father, we pray that you may open doors, because where there is a vision, my Father, there is always provision. Provide for each and every one of us. Lord, we pray that our families may be strong, found in your love and in your favor, King of glory. May we find even favors before our friends, before our families, King of glory. And whatever that we've discussed here, my Father, may it be unto your glory, may it be unto your honor, my Redeemer. Bless each and every one of us in our various destinations. Be a blessing to each and every house that has been represented this day in this place, my Father. And we know that, Father, at the end of it all glory and honor shall be unto you. We give glory, we give thanks for this. We pray, believing and trusting in the mighty name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. I love
Asanteni
Amen.
sana.
greetings to
Thank
my
you,
Amen.
family.
Dr.
Amen.
Thank you.
Yeah,
God
look
bless
at my
you.
Thank you.
children. They are saying hi.
Oh, we can see.
We are eating lunch. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Let me go to bed now.
Oh, you night. Rest. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
The meeting is over.